Welcome to the latest edition of Beyond the Arc. I'm John Gonzalez alongside our NBA insider, Bill Ryder, and making her triumphant return to the program, Ashley.
I feel like I haven't
Moss
seen
is
you guys
back.
in forever.
What's up?
Ready to go.
Here we are. We're back.
Your
We're
guy,
ready.
Dak Prescott, got a new contract. You're reinvigorated.
And the Cowboys got the
exciting.
win. Gotta love
That's
it.
less exciting.
If your team's not 1-0, like embarrassing.
Almost as embarrassing if your team hasn't made an NFC championship since 1996.
Anyway, Bill, moving on. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm a Bears fan. I got nothing to brag about. Welcome back, Ash.
I had forgotten about that. But welcome back, Ashley. We're very excited to have you back and excited for this show. We're going to do, it's the off season and we were just kicking this around in our group chat. And it was basically like, hey, who do we think are some players that are on, that could potentially make the Hall of Fame? So we've got a list and we're going to go through it. We're going to start though with two guys that I think are probably headed there. And they're coming off pretty good season. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, who made the NBA Finals, obviously, last year. We'll start with Luka, gang. Great season for him last year. Scoring champ, third in the MVP voting. He was the Western Conference MVP. Previously, Ashley, we'll start with you because we're so excited to bring you back. Rookie of the Year, 5 All-Star appearances. And this is the one that really blows me away. At 25 years old, this dude has made 5 All-NBA teams, and he has more first-team All-NBA selections than, listen to this list, Steph, Dirk, Kevin Garnett, Steve Nash, D. Wade, Moses Malone. It goes on. John Havlicek, if that's your brand, for the older listeners in the crowd. Luka, pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, and he's been pretty good, like his entire life, basically. We didn't even talk about what he did in the Euro League, at such a young age. Obviously, that has no impact on, the NBA Hall of Fame. But I think Luka at this stage in the game, even if he were to never win a championship, I know that the conversation of winning a chip kind of pushes some people into the Hall of Fame that may or may not have made it on their individual accolades. But I will say that when we talk about Luka, he's kind of at this stage in his career, I don't think it's far-fetched to say he's already in there. I just think that it's so Aaron just told me international and college accomplishments do count for the Hall of Fame. So Luka at this stage in the game,
it's the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah. All right, here we go. So then, at this stage in the game, it's actually mind-blowing. Luka being so young without an NBA championship to his record book, to his accolades, his Rolodex, whatever you want to call it. He's kind of already solidified, which is mind-blowing when you think about it.
I'm with you. And look, I'm glad, John, you started with somebody that feels like a lock to me because just full disclosure, I think the Hall of Fames, all the Hall of Fames, including basketballs, have become the Hall of Feelings, where it's just about not making someone feel bad about themselves, and way too many people get in who don't deserve to, right? I'm just going to call him out. I had a whole conversation with the first time I met Donovan McNabb. All he did was talk about how he's a guaranteed Hall of Famer. And I remember, because it's me, being like, I don't think you're in, bro. And Donovan's a great guy. But and Donovan had a great career, right? And there's NBA guys who fit this. Just because you had a great career doesn't mean you're in. I'm probably going to be more negative on a lot of these than maybe most people. But I'm with Ash on Luka. I mean, you have to keep playing. I don't think you can pull an Andrew Luck, and he won't, and just announce at the end of the year, I'm going to go, try to find some wise guy in a mountain somewhere. But John, I mean, what can I add? The guy is sensational. He's amazing.
I don't think he needs to win a chip to get in at this. I think it's already solidified.
At 25, I think he's already in. I mean, when you already have at this point more first team All NBA selections than all those guys I just rattled off. I don't know what else you'd have to do to get. If it was just the NBA Hall of Fame, I think he'd still be in. And as Bill mentioned, the Basketball Hall of Fame is a lot of people get into it for different accomplishments.
Which is why it should technically be the NBA Hall of Fame. I know I messed it up in the beginning, but it technically should also be for the NBA.
I can't count Real Madrid accomplishments. I'm wearing a Barcelona jersey right now, and so I don't recognize anything that Luka did when he happened to play for that club before we came to the States, John. So I'm just telling you, none of it happened.
I do, not to not to be too basketball nerdy about it, but I do like some Euro basketball, and I have seen some games, and it's like it's wild competition. Like I was in Greece to do a story on Patino, and like they were setting off flares and they're smoking cigarettes next to fire alarms and stuff. It's like it's
a grown man's league.
But I do think the only
the
issue with how the Hall of Fame is set up when it's all basketball like this and not specifically the NBA, which is why I always I don't know if it's a Freudian slip or whatever, I always call it the NBA Hall of Fame when it's not. Because if you take a player like Kyrie Irving or DeMar DeRozan or any, American player, I know technically Kyrie was born in Australia, but any American born player can't compete with an accolade of the EuroLeague. So I just feel like if we're going to talk about the accolades that should get you into the Hall of Fame, it should be somewhat of an even playing field, like the Olympic teams and, all-stars and championships and first NBA, second on Kyrie's never going to play in the EuroLeague. That's not even a fair accolade to kind of put on Luka's resume to further get him into the Hall of Fame, which he's already in. I don't know. I just think that's weird.
No, I think all that stuff is sort of rolled in though, right? Because if you do play on an Olympic team or you're good in college, I'm sure Christian, I don't know this. I'd have to check.
I think
Christian Leitner in the
I'm
Hall
sure
of Fame
he is.
Probably has to be, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so here's what I'm with you guys. I would just say this, that the only thing I would quibble with, I think he's in, but what would have made it a lock if we're doing it right now is an MVP, because no player, now Derrick Rose will probably be the first. Well, I guess we'll see. But no player has ever won an MVP in the NBA and not become a Hall of Famer. Every player that has ever won an MVP has become a Hall of Famer. And Derrick Rose is kind of, for some people, an on the fence guy, but I think I'm quibbling. You think if he retired today, he's already in. I won't argue with it. Yeah, I think that's
for sure.
Let's go around. Let's go around the horn. We're doing a little thumbs up, thumbs down. Ashley, you first. Luka in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, easy.
Thumbs up. Bill.
Thumbs up. Thumbs up.
I also thumbs up.
Yep.
3 thumbs up. Congratulations, Luka, on your pending induction into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Kyrie Irving, his teammate, we mentioned him, also coming off of a good season, looked really good paired with Luka Doncic. I think we've asked and answered the question about whether or not these two can contend for a championship. They did. Rookie of the Year, 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. And, of course, he won that title in 2016 with LeBron James, bringing a chip to Cleveland after 50 years across all 4 sports without that city having a championship. Really impressive accomplishment. I think same thing here. I don't think we have to belabor this one, Bill.
I think it's more of a lock. I think eventually today, whatever we're doing, I think Kyrie Irving on this list is the lock. He could walk out tomorrow to do something else for a living, and he is and I think Ash, who I love, unfairly gives me a hard time for being mean to Kyrie, but as the harsher Kyrie person maybe on the show, he's 100% a lock. It's not even a question. Ash, for me, absolute sure thing Hall of Famer today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know this isn't something that's included in the criteria to enter the Hall of Fame, but we're talking about one of, if not the most prolific handler of the basketball we've ever seen. It's just poetry watching him play. So outside of everything that he has done, when you talk about concrete accolades, 8-time All-Star, NBA champion, Rookie of the Year, all those things, we're also talking about one of the most just beautiful ball handlers, prolific scorers we have ever seen play the game. And I think
you saw him last year where he had that left-handed scoop
insane
shot
during Ramadan, John. Not an ounce of food in his system. I can't even function when I'm hungry. I don't even know how he did that. It was the most insane,
I just threw a bagel down.
Thing I've ever seen in my life.
Saw it. Is he a top 10? Is he a top 10 scorer of all time? Just natural, just scoring talent.
I say so.
I think he is.
So.
You know what's also really impressive and kind of crazy for all of the high usage in his career. He's super efficient as a shooter. For his career, he's 47 and change. Last season, he shot just under 50% from the floor. Normally with a guard, if you're in the 45 range, you're happy with that. For him to have that much volume and be that efficient is really impressive.
Has he done a 50, 40, 90? It seems like he has, and I should know.
I'd have to go through all. I just have his career numbers and then last year.
I'm 89% sure that he has. Oh,
it's really
Aaron is saying it's amazing.
All right, around the horn on Kyrie. Ash?
Yes.
Bill, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up.
Keep jumping the gum.
Those 2 guys are in. Let's do a couple of former Toronto Raptors here. Brings us to one Demar Derozan, who now washes up in Sacramento after leaving the Chicago Bulls. Congratulations, by the way, Demar, on getting out of the Chicago Bulls organization. 15 seasons in the NBA. This will be 16 coming up. 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. Here's what I love about him. You guys have heard me talk about this before. He just always plays. He's played 70 games in 70, at least 70, a minimum of 70 in 7 of the last 10 seasons. He played 79 games last year, Bill, and he led the league in minutes. I don't know if that gets him into the Hall of Fame, but man, he is just out there all the time.
Really good player. As you said, he's an Iron Man, right? He's got this Cal Ripken sort of vibe going on. He's also extremely clutch. Like he is a reliable shot creator, shot maker at the end of games. Not that he's played many big games in Chicago, but when it's happened and previous to that, and hopefully at this new stop, to me, Ash, I love DeMar DeRozan as a player. He's also, not that this has anything to do with the Hall of Fame, really, really good guy, like really good dude. There's nothing about him for me that says you are historically elite in a single category. Like there's not a thing about him for me where I just look at it and say, man, that guy is like Kyrie. That's one of the great scorers of all time. We're going to get to somebody else who's, at least accolades wise, defensively outstanding over the course of his career. I like DeMar, but this is sort of a marginal situation. This is not as easy as Kyrie and Luka Doncic are for me.
I mean, top 40 in career points, does have a gold medal from, I believe, the Rio games. I do think that DeMar is one of those players that when we talk about how an NBA championship could have pushed him over the edge when without necessarily having the individual accolades, I think that he kind of fits in that category. It's a damn shame that he was shipped off to, San Antonio, and then the Raptors.
Yeah, and the Kawhi trade.
Yeah,
he was like literally this close, because if you had all of these accolades, and definitely not knocking any of them, I mean, this is a great resume for there are players who would dream to have a resume like this, but if you had one more bullet point and it said NBA champion, he's easily in the Hall of Fame just from that alone, because it's Toronto's first NBA championship. The fact that he was shipped to sit was a travesty.
I mean, that's what they needed to do to pull off the chip, right? I like DeMar.
No, I know. That's
on top of that, he's a great dude, and he's really helped people like open up. He was, along with Kevin Love, he was one of the first people to really talk about mental health in the NBA. He's a professional. He's an adult. All of these things that I'm rooting for him. But yeah, Toronto was like, he's not going to get us over the hump. We need Kawhi, and then they got over the hump.
Can I just say, like, I'm not belittling the gold medal accomplishment, but it is not a hugely decisive thing for me in deciding Hall of Famers. George, we talked about Ash earlier in the week.
Multiple, though? What if you have Kevin Durant status?
Well, that's not DeMar, though. Like, if you are one of the guys that wins, record setting, or even if, look, Stephen Curry doesn't need help getting in the Hall of Fame, but like that performance at the end of the gold medal game, yes, there are some contextual realities maybe about certain runs, but not every medal is the same to me. And John and Sam Quinn and I did a podcast a few days ago where we talked about bad players. Jordan Poole's got a ring. Don't care, right? Like, doesn't matter. If you make the USA team, if you make the national team in this country, you damn well better get a gold medal. And so to me, that's not enough to push a guy over the top.
Are you telling me that Carlos Boozer and Tayshaun Prince and Michael Redd's gold medals don't mean anything to you? This hurts me, Bill.
Yeah, Carlos Boozer. Which way does Boozer go?
Let's go around the horn here. I will say Basketball Reference has a fun little predictive Hall of Fame model, and they have this as a coin flip, which I think as we're talking through on DeMar DeRozan, it kind of feels like a coin flip. Which way we going? Thumbs up, thumbs down, Ash?
I love DeMar too, but I'm going to go thumbs down.
I'm going to agree with Ash with a sound effect. It's a
I'm a thumbs down on DeMar too. I just think he needs a little bit more.
We're gonna be honest.
Maybe
everyone's gonna get in.
Everybody gets in. Well, maybe this show will be in the media wing of the Basketball Hall of Fame one day.
In career points. That's top 40.
It's not nothing. It's not nothing. It's pretty impressive. And part of that is a function of being available, right? You can score points when you're on the court, and that's
more 3-point shooting, more pace of play than 30 years ago. Like there is a little context.
Yeah, fair enough. Got to take a break, and then on the other side, we'll discuss one of his former teammates, Kyle Lowry, and his case for making the Hall of Fame. John, Ashley, and Bill, this is Beyond the Arc.
Today, With the support of the NFL, a new playbook is being written. The National Gay Flag Football League provides inclusive play for over 4,000 LGBTQ+ players and allies. Here is a home with no penalty for being you.
Welcome back to Beyond the Arc. John, Ashley, and Bill. The gang is all back together. We're very excited. Just a reminder, you can find us wherever you get your favorite podcast. Please download, subscribe, and leave a review. And if you're listening on Spotify, this is new. Please leave us a comment on this episode. If you look just below the play button on the Spotify app in full screen mode, you can tell us what you think of the show, about Ashley being back, about Bill and his Barca kit. You can leave us a question, all that good stuff. All right, so Kyle Lowry, as I mentioned before the break here, this one's interesting too, and I think he has a little bit better case, but I'm interested to see what you guys think than DeMar DeRozan does. 18 years in the NBA. It'll be 19th this coming season. 6-time All-Star, only one All-NBA selection, but he does have, Ashley, to your point about, hey, like a championship might help you look at DeMar a little bit more. He was on that 2019 Raptors team and a principal part of it that won the NBA championship and kind of put an end, at least until the bonus chip for the Golden State Warriors, put an end to that dynasty run for Golden State. Where are you on Kyle Lowry?
Again, I think that championship pushes, the percentage to get into the Hall of Fame, it pushes it higher up on the scale. If you look at Kyle Lowry, yes, he has more career assists than, DeMar DeRozan by like 10 in terms of rankings and things like that. But if you look at all NBA, if you look at All-Star, the fact is that championship is what really pushes him over the edge to get in above DeMar, at least when you talk about mathematically, right? So for me, whether or not you want to go ahead and say he was a huge factor, mediocre factor, small factor in winning the chip, point of the matter is he has a ring, and that makes all the difference. So for me, I think Kyle Lowry gets in on that alone.
Yeah, there's two factors for me in the Hall of Fame. There's the assessment that Ash is talking about, of course, you have to make, and is really important. And there's the sniff test, or the eye test, or the sort of knee-jerk reaction test, and maybe that's dumb.
Any of those, all those tests.
Right. I put them all out there. I got to combine them. I like a doctor. I'm physical. It's just trying making sure it all works. And I kind of, again, this is closer for me than maybe it is for others, but I sort of feel better about Lowry's opportunities in both those respects. When I just hear his name, my first reaction is, yeah, it feels like a Hall of Famer. And when you look at the stats, and as you mentioned, first team All-NBA, or excuse me, one All-NBA team appearance, not first team. I think that is significant too. If as you sort of get into the margins, and I don't think DeRozan was, right? I don't think DeRozan has ever been.
3-time All-NBA.
Yeah.
Okay. So
DeMar was 3. Kyle Lowry's made 1.
I'd love to know what category Lowry, but anyway, maybe it's the championship. It's just on first blush, it feels
which for me,
like more.
I don't know how you guys feel, John, Bill. Like, I have a 50-50 relationship with the NBA championship, kind of, or being a champion, kind of pushing a certain person over the edge when you talk about the Hall of Fame, right? Because looking at individual stats and individual accolades for me is, I feel like, more impactful than when we talk about a championship, where it requires a lot of things to go right. It requires more people to go ahead and work well together for 7 games.
I think it depends on your role.
Games. But right? Okay, for example, DeMar DeRozan obviously gets traded to San Antonio so they can get Kawhi to win that championship. Would you say that Kyle Lowry, it's hard for me to put so much stock in a championship when it's a team sport. Everything needs to go right for a team to win a chip. But when you talk about individual accolades, I think it depends. On one person.
Like, if you're a guy that's just sort of along for the ride. Look, Gary Payton was a Hall of Famer without his championship, but Gary Payton's Hall of Fame with the Heat wasn't the same thing as if he'd won it with the Supersonics, right? Kyle Lowry wasn't a passenger on that team. And my memory is he was by far the second most important player in that playoff run. Does that seem right, John?
But there are also other players
it was him, Marc Gasol, Fred VanVleet. Like, those were the major
and obviously
guys,
and obviously Kawhi was like
JaVale McGee has rings from the Warriors and
but I think
medals.
I think Lowry's role on that team. Also, I'm not sure this gets you in the Hall of Fame, but as it relates to the championship, his best friend got traded, right? When DeMar DeRozan went away, they were best friends. And so, like, you'll talk to people in that organization, his professionalism and his leadership to just be like, this sucks. I missed Demar. We're going to go try to win a championship. We're going to be pros. I think he was a significant factor in that championship. And so for me,
sure. I'm not saying specifically Kyle Lowry. I'm just saying in general, my relationship with this NBA championship kind of being that pushover factor for a lot of guys is a little bit wonky for me, because there are guys who have NBA championships who really were not major factors in getting them. They just happened to be on the right team at the right time, the right season. So it's like, it's a weird relationship that the Hall of Fame has with championships. It's just my opinion.
All right.
Yeah,
so
I don't know how much do you like sniff test, John? Which one do you want me to use? Sniff test? What do you think?
I think it's smell test, but I like that you've updated
no,
I'm
updating it.
No, this is the new thing now. It's a sniff test. Ashley, I believe you went thumbs up, but just to confirm here,
thumbs up for Kyle Lowry.
Bill,
I'm gonna.
You're grimacing.
I know it's a tough, because I think we put too many people in. But
and also John, Bill, question for you. Does number matter? Like Kyle Lowry has 1, right? Obviously, like a Clay Draymond situation, they have 4. They're guaranteed in.
It's all situational.
Is 1 enough to push you over the edge? Does 1 championship really make a difference when the?
I can't believe he's 86% on Basketball Reference. That is insanity to me. Like 86%. That equation. Yes. That equation is stupid. I'm gonna buy. I'm gonna thumbs up. Yes, that's a radio segment I do. Whatever. It's been a long day.
Your thumbs up on Kyle Lowry.
Brighter than you.
Look, I think he's 21st all time in assists. I love passing. He's an incredible basketball player. He's extremely smart. Again, because it is the All Basketball Hall of Fame. He was really good at Villanova. Not for nothing. He was awesome at Northeast High in Philadelphia.
Does that matter?
He's a North Philadelphia legend who has returned to Philadelphia to play for the 76ers. And yes, he has 1 championship, but then you have to add in, Bill, the other one he's going to win this season with the Sixers.
Oh, so I didn't think of that.
So that's 2 then. So I'm thumbs up on North Philadelphia's Kyle Lowry. He's going to get in. Ashley's rolling her eyes at me. Let's move on to some Celtics here. These are a little bit tougher, and I was actually kind of surprised by the numbers and the predictive model on Basketball Reference. We're going to start with Al Horford, 17 seasons in the NBA, 5 All-Stars, 1 All-NBA team, 1 All-Defense, and of course, he just won the title in 2024 with the Celtics, who were dominant. Bill, what do we think about Al? And also he had a really good career in Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say to you about your Lowry stuff. I care very little. It matters, but the weight of a college career for me is you are transcendently, you're out of 2 or 3 guys, you define that sort of your era in college, or you win championships. He was a part of that Florida run under Billy Donovan where they won 2, right? So that's a significant boost. He is, again, the old sniff test, as they've been saying for decades here in beautiful America. The old sniffer test. I mean, the guy, like, when he's been in the right situation, when he's been on the right kind of teams, he has been such an important factor in the playoffs. He's been a leader. He's a difference maker at times. And he's always better in the playoffs than you sort of expect at whatever stage of his career he's at. I love this guy's case.
Yeah, I mean, this is insane to me. I know we'll get to Jrue Holiday in a second, but the fact that both of these guys have a lower percentage to get into the Hall of Fame than Kyle Lowry is actually kind of insane to me. And that's no knock to Kyle Lowry at all. But I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I just don't understand the math between or the math that goes into like determining who's in and who's out. I think Al Horford has had an amazing career. I mean, I know he just announced that he's retiring. For him, winning the championship was the cherry on top of a really illustrious career and a long career. I mean, we're talking about 17 seasons in the NBA, and he's been in some way, shape, or form productive in every single one of them. It's just, I don't know. This is a crazy resume. And if we're talking all basketball, going back to even college, I mean, winning a championship twice in college is a big deal. We're talking a 5-time All-Star, an NBA championship. He plays his role. He plays it well. 18 career playoff rebounds, 50th career playoff points. I mean,
what do you do in middle school?
But this is a guy who not only went back to back in college, but this is a guy who knows his role and plays it to perfection when his number is called. I just don't know what gets more basketball than that. I don't know. I'm very confused by the math here.
This Al Horford's a tough one because, with the exception of the 1 year in purgatory, when Elton Brand brought him down to because he had forever and a day been a thorn in the side of Joel Embiid, and they're like, here's a good idea, let's steal him away from the Celtics.
It was such a
put him on the Sixers, and won't that go great? It went terribly, with the exception of his time in Philadelphia, where I thought he was unfairly maligned. He has been an incredible player in the NBA.
Yeah.
And one of those guys, and we're gonna get to Jrue Holiday next, and this in the same way that Jrue Holiday doesn't hurt you anywhere on the floor, that's kind of Al Horford. He can do a little bit of everything. And he's just a smart basketball player. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer, though, but we're going to go around the horn here. Bill, you go first.
Look, his college accomplishments, his middle school excellence at
unbelievable.
You know, did he play in he's not from Philly, right? He didn't spend a year in Philly doing
he didn't play in Philly, which is going to make it tough for him to make it in my Hall of Fame.
I'm going to vote everyone in after saying I'm so strict. I'm in. I'm a yes on Horford. I think the college career is like a significant boost to what what he's done. But yeah, I mean those Florida teams, it's 20 years ago, so we all forget how dominant those teams were and how great he was. So I'm in on Al Horford.
I'm in on Al Horford too. Also, I guess Aaron just confirmed that Horford confirmed that he'll be back next season. So no confirmation on his retirement. I guess I read that wrong. I could have sworn that he said he was retiring, but yeah, I'm going thumbs up on Al Horford. Again, back-to-back NCAA championships rather, NBA championship. That matters to me. I'm going all in.
This is tough. I want to vote him down on this. 1 in 4 shot on Basketball Reference to make it in.
That's crazy.
He's insane.
The back-to-back championships at Florida, I think, are not insignificant, and he is an NBA champion now. And as I said, he's just consistent. So I guess I'll go thumbs up on Al. And what really puts Al into the yes for me, reluctantly, is just like, I'm a sucker for just professionals, right? We all have a job to do, and we've all interviewed a lot of athletes, and sometimes it's tough. Sometimes it's like, getting water from a stone, or some guys don't want to talk to you, whatever. Al's the guy who's at the locker after every single game, answering whether he wins or loses or has a good game or doesn't. And I just think like that goes a long way for me.
That makes him a lot.
That
makes him a Hall of Famer. All right, moving on to Jrue Holiday. This, as you guys know, is my guy. Jrue Holiday. I had when I was in Stanford for the finals, and Chris Walker was there, and he was like, just like trashing Jrue Holiday. I'm like, what do you want from Jrue Holiday? This guy is amazing.
Oh, you're really hanging on to that memory.
And I will never let Chris live that down. I don't. Chris, answer for yourself. I know you're listening. 14 seasons in the NBA, only 2 All-Star appearances. That was Chris's big thing. Where are all the All-Star games? I'm like, I don't know. He plays
popularity contest, man. That
6
doesn't matter.
all defense teams, including this last year where he made second team all defense. 2 NBA titles. There's a case to be made in the first NBA title with the Bucks that he was the second best player on that team after Giannis. And then now he's just a luxury on the Celtics, where they know they roll him out there, and it doesn't matter if he's their best guy or their 5th best guy that night, because he's just really good. And by the way, 2 Olympic gold medals where he was an integral part on that. You already know where I'm going on this.
And
Bill,
to your point,
laughing at me. He's very, very good
when he's on the floor. He only helps you. Like he is. What was the stat during the run of the playoffs this year where he went? I forget how many games it was where he didn't have a single turnover. That's
a great game.
It was no. It was series. Like it was multiple series that he didn't have a single turnover. Like it's just having that reliability, having that just perfectionism when it comes to what you're supposed to do when you're on the floor. Like this is my lane, this is my box, I'm going to perfect it, is insane. Like I think that people just look at stats and just look at the record book and look at somebody's resume and say, okay, he has this, he doesn't have this, he doesn't have. But when you actually dive into what a player does and how he impacts the game, how he doesn't hurt the game season after season, I think it's bigger than just like what you can log on a piece of paper or in a record book. Like Jrue Holiday is one of the best defenders in the NBA. Like he's really good at what he does. And he has been for a minute.
Can I go back and kick Kyle Lowry out of the Hall of Fame before I answer this? Can I reverse my answer?
You want Jrue,
I think I've been too nice to all these guys. No, I don't want either of them. I think I'm sort of leaning toward. I'm getting caught up in individual accolades, and it's like there's a certain level. I want my Hall of Fame to be.
Bill.
I want my certain level to be utterly elite, and I don't know. Aren't we getting a little carried away with like this guy's really, really good? He's really, really good, but he was a luxury on the Boston team. Again, you're a lock to win a gold medal if you make the team. He was really important on that Milwaukee team, but it doesn't. I see it on paper. I'm looking at it.
He made the play right. in that game, in the game that won them the championship, where a massive steal goes the other way.
Yeah,
I mean, like. He was the second best player on the championship-winning team.
First 3 games in the finals, not a single turnover. 3 games. 3 games in a row, not a single turnover. But I think also, I hear what you're saying when you talk about the Hall of Fame. You want elite and you want the creme de la creme, but you also have to be realistic when we talk about. There's only a handful of players in the history of the NBA, the history of basketball, who will fit that criteria. Not everyone's going to be a Jordan or a Bron or Kobe.
I mean,
and if the Hall of Fame's only reserved for those guys, there's going to be like 30 people in the Hall of Fame.
But Dirk's not a top 10 player of all time. He was pretty good, right? I just want where do these guys list on an all-time? If you were made to do an all-time NBA player list, like we just did the top 100 for this season, where does Jrue Holiday fit on that list? I mean, come on, he's not
top 100 going into this season
in the history. So, in the history of the NBA, Jrue Holiday is not ranking that high on that list, is he? Or Kyle Lowry? They're just because there's been so many guys. I'm having second thoughts, and when I feel these doubts,
I forget who it was. I think maybe it was Deion Sanders who talked about this for the NFL Hall of Fame
then he was definitely
Hall of Fame, rather. And he even said maybe there should be tiers because he felt the same way about the Football Hall of Fame, that we let too many people in. And there should be tiers to the Hall of Fame, roughly. Maybe that would make people feel better if there were tiers to the Basketball Hall of Fame. But I don't know. I just feel like if we can't reserve it for just the elite, because there's only so many elite players in the history of the sport.
It's literally defined for the elite. It's literally
considering how many basketball players there have been, I'm okay with having some guys who aren't top 5 of all time, right? I mean, there's 450.
But what about top 100?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So maybe, and this is a conversation for another show, but maybe it's a 1 in, 1 out policy. If somebody gets in, you got to kick somebody out.
I like that.
But let's go around the horn on Jrue Holiday. Bill, we'll do you last because I think you're the most wishy-washy on this one. Ashley, you first. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm going yes to Jrue Holiday. Jrue, I like you. You're in.
Yeah, Basketball
Kyle,
Reference not super high on
Kyle,
this.
You're out. Jrue, you're
in. What do they have him at?
Less than 2% chance to make it.
What?
Yeah, 1.7. I'm a huge thumbs up on Jrue Holiday just because defensively, there's a case to be made for him being one of the best defensive guards of his era, right? I mean, and he's been playing for 14 seasons. He can switch 1 through 5. He's the guy that you throw at the other team's best player on offense, and he's going to lock him down defensively. And he just he does all the little things and does them well. And maybe that doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but if I was picking a team, I'm drafting players, he'd be a guy I'd want on my team because he's a winner. Thumbs up.
So when I vote for the NBA awards, I change my mind. I'll fill it out, go back. By the way, Kyle Lowry, you're out. I know earlier I said you're in, but you're out. You're out too. And I'm thumbs downsing. We're doing it. It's a no. I'm trying to be a little more particular about
a little more discerning.
Well, you know what? Demar, you're in too. I've let everybody in. Demar, you can come also. I take
everybody's. It's like Oprah. You get a Hall of Fame. You get a Hall of Fame. It's 2%. That's you and I, John, talk about the models, the numbers sometimes.
Yeah.
If I've ever heard evidence the Basketball Reference models are problematic and or stupid and don't pass the old sniffer test, it is today's show. How is he? I mean, I wouldn't put him in, but 2%.
It doesn't. It doesn't make. I think that. Part of it is calculation on what's he done previously and what he still has left that he could do. Because we all agree that Luka is headed for the Hall of Fame, but on Basketball Reference, he's a coin flip because he's still only 25 and a lot could happen, So I think it's a little bit of that, and maybe he's running out of time to like really add to his accolades as part of their model. I don't know, but if he's out, this last guy before we take a break, one more Celtic for you, Derrick White. Basketball Reference, less than a 1% chance that Derrick White gets in, but he's young still. We forget that, Derrick White, he had to shave his head because his hair was quitting on him. But he's still pretty young. 7 seasons in the NBA, 2 all defense, including this past season where he made second team all defense along with Jrue Holiday and an NBA championship. He's got some time.
Doesn't he have an Olympic gold medal too? Isn't it like an
Olympic gold medal?
Yeah, he's in. He's not in.
This is. I can make a case for Jrue. I can make a case for Al Horford. I don't know if I can make a case for Derrick White. I feel like this is a little bit of a stretch. I know he has the gold medal, the NBA championship, but I mean, I feel like this is a little bit of a reach. I can't defend this one.
I'm going to politely invite Derrick to remove his name from the list so that he doesn't have to have the shame of going over however many votes there are.
Remove it from the list, just like you removed your hair from your head. It's time for Derrick White to I feel bad about it, but it is kind of funny. Wow. He did the right thing. And you know what, Trae Young, you should follow suit.
Oh my God.
Listen,
wow, you went there.
It's not for everybody. Sometimes it's just a cleaner look. And think about it. You'll be more aerodynamic. You'll be much faster. Right. We're all going thumbs down. It's
you keep that same energy for LeBron? I don't think so.
LeBron's the GOAT. He gets special.
Didn't LeBron tried hair plugs for a minute? Remember that? Remember that little stretch where he really tried to grow his hair back? No one will notice.
Frankly, I go the other way on LeBron. I liked Olympic level LeBron where his hair was like starting to go and his beard is getting gray.
I like the beard, the gray beard.
I want the whole old man aesthetic. I think it's great.
He's doing it on purpose, though. It's everything is calculated. Look how good I am. He probably is dyeing his hair white to make it like people marvel. Look what he can do at this age. It's amazing.
Oh, it's pretty great. All right, so we're all thumbs down on Derrick White. We're going to take one more break, and then on the other side, we'll wrap up our Hall of Fame cases. Some really interesting names that we still got to get through here, but we'll continue that conversation right here on Beyond the Arc.
There are some things in life that you can't quite explain.
An extraordinary story.
Maybe it sounds flawless, looks effortless, or makes you feel like a part of history.
The first ever goal for BFC.
And when all of those phenomenons come together, it's perfect. Pitch perfect.
Welcome back to Beyond the Arc. Just a reminder, you can find us on YouTube as well. Our page is Beyond the Arc CBS. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. All right, so we're on to Kevin Love here. 15 seasons in the NBA, 5 seasons as an All-Star, 1 All-NBA, 1 championship with that Cavs team back in 2016. Bill, this was a guy who, I don't know if you remember this. I'm sure you do. But back when the Warriors were trying to figure out what they could become, there was rumors that they were looking to swap out Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. And I was one of the guys who was like, yes, that's how you do it. And they were much smarter than me. And it was a good thing that they didn't. But it looks like, according to Basketball Reference model that you love so much, 75% chance roughly that Kevin Love gets
What?
This is insane. I don't understand this. I'm not that great at math to begin with, but I'm really not good at math.
There's numbers. It's science.
How does this make sense?
It doesn't. The old sniffer test for me is crazy. It does not come out. It does not smell like one is in the Hall of Fame. All right. Congrats on the championship. That's awesome. Way to go. I like him as a player, and he's. By the way, John, to your earlier Kyle Lowry sort of standard, he is an incredibly nice guy in the locker room. I couldn't be more gracious if you need a quote. Like, nice guy, and you noted this, like, really sort of important in mental health, but being a good human being really has nothing to do with being in the Hall of Fame. I mean, I wish it did. They don't correlate. So, as for me, I'm skeptical in the extreme. And most improved player, by the way, should almost be an award that prevents you from making the Hall of Fame. I mean, today it just is given to whatever kid was a rookie the year before that. But like, if you had to improve that drastically, I don't know, maybe you're not a Hall of Famer, right? It's like, can you imagine LeBron or Michael Jordan winning, or even Dirk winning most improved? I don't know. This feels like shaky.
For me, once again, I mean, just to reiterate, I feel like the championship just pushes this model in the favor of some players because in comparison to DeMar DeRozan, I don't see a difference between the two except for the fact that DeMar doesn't have a chip and Kevin Love does. I don't see anything outside of Kevin Love's accolades removing the championship that would make him higher on the scale than it would DeMar DeRozan. So if you're going to put Kevin Love in on the strength of a championship, then DeMar DeRozan should get in regardless of it. It doesn't, it's the same. The literal resume is the same, taking the championship out. And a championship is won with a team, not an individual. This whole thing is aggravating me, honestly. The math
this was your idea. You wanted to do these.
The math doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I just don't get it.
You're angry at your own idea. All right, around the horn quickly on Kevin Love. Ashley, thumbs up, thumbs down.
At this rate, I put everyone in, so let's add Kevin too. Why not?
Thumbs up.
I don't love his case, guys. And I am going to go. See, I did that. Sorry, it's a radio bit. Down. Thumbs down. It's not even. Is this even a hard one for you, John? I'm so confused by
thumbs up
reference. You are.
Yeah, I think he's good.
Why?
Kevin Love's had a good career. Why not?
Listen, why not?
I'm getting
into the Hall of Fame. I'm getting into the Hall of Fame at this rate.
My thing about halls of fame, plural, is it's not that important. It's not. I mean, like I know that we make it important, and
I'm glad we're doing the show.
I've been to multiple Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. I got my Joe Thomas hat from last year's Joe Thomas induction. Congrats to Joe Thomas on making the Hall of Fame. I think we pump it up and we try to make it like this super important thing. Let him in. What's the difference if Kevin Love's in or not?
I'm going to counter with this just because I used to agree with you. But it is so important to the guys that get in. And I was just randomly by work chance. I was with Gary Payton when he found out. And Gary is an amazing guy, but he's not a crier. He's not, right? And his reaction, I was so stunned by. Because I can be a little jaded. I think we can be a little jaded when we're in the media. That it changed my perspective on how valuable this is to people who already have. Gary Payton's champion, has a great life, right? I mean, very wealthy, accomplished. And so every time you put in someone who doesn't deserve it, I think it diminishes those moments a little bit for the people who do.
Or counterpoint, fewer people, or you get more people who get to do happy crying, right? Kevin Love can have some happy tears. That sounds.
He will happy cry.
Nice. I want that for him. Here's a guy who I think, I mean, like maybe one of the most controversial people in the NBA, and everybody's going to have an opinion on this.
I love this.
This is Rudy Gobert, 11 seasons in the NBA, 3 All-Star appearances, 4 All-NBA selections, 7 All-Defense, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. Defensively, he's amazing. And on top of that, didn't get DX crotch chopped by Embiid.
Yeah. 2 silver medals. That's basically the gold if you're not from America. It is. It's the same equivalent.
Which again, we're talking about a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. How the hell is his percentage lower than Kevin Love's?
So Basketball Reference has him at a 26% chance to get in. I don't get it.
Make sense. That doesn't make any sense. And listen, I'm not a Rudy Gobert defender by any means. I'm not going to put my cape on for him. All right. I don't, we all know how people feel about Rudy Gobert. I have a love-hate relationship with him, but you don't win DPOY 4 times by accident. Like that's a huge flex on your resume. There are guys who don't win that award once. And we're not even talking about someone who's won it 4 times over the span of his entire career. He's two-peated this award. Like that's how the heck is he lower than Kevin Love? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's 0 sense.
All right. I think we're in agreement that a non-USA silver is a gold, right? For these purposes. I think we all agreed.
Those are equivalent.
I know Ben Wallace has a championship, so that's different. But Ben Wallace was a 5-time Defensive Player of the Year who averaged 6 and 10 over his career. And I thought he deserved it. You guys remember when he got in, like that was the whole thing. And did he deserve it? And yes, I think he did. Rudy's 14 and 13 over the course of his career. I know he doesn't have a championship. I got it. I get it. Although I know it's about today. Although, he's on a team that have a real chance, real aspirations. I know people don't like this guy. I know that Draymond Green would fly to the ceremony if he didn't get in and cheer and that he's not there. People hate him for whatever reason. I'm with Ash. 4-time Defensive Player of the Year alone is enough for me. You are, by definition, by the standard is the most important measurement, the best defensive player or one of the best defensive players of your generation. And I know other defensive
all
players like Draymond
time.
Green are going to argue,
Possibly.
of all time. So it seems like an easy one to me.
If I'm reading you two right, you're both thumbs up on this.
Thumbs up.
I just don't see how you.
Rudy, let's go there.
This is not the likability Hall of Fame. I just don't see how you just on that alone.
Amen.
His credentials, I think, are unimpeachable as a defensive player. I know his peers like to clown on him. I'm 2 thumbs up on Rudy Gobert. I think the hate has gone too far. He's been really, really good, and he should get in. We got 2 more, and then we're going to wrap up the show here. Jimmy Buckets, Jimmy Butler, 13 seasons in the NBA, 6 All-Stars, 5 All-NBA selections, and of course in 2023 when they went to the finals, he was the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Basketball Reference loves Jimmy Butler, almost 75% chance to get in here, Ash. He's really good. He's really mouthy. He's only intermittently available, only 60 games last season, but man, when he's out there, he is one of the best players in the NBA.
His Olympic medal came from the Rio Games also in 2016 with the Demar Derozan team, I believe.
Sure.
Again, look, most improved player, Bill. There's your award.
I saw it. I know. You got that. He came out of nowhere though, as a player. He came out of nowhere in Chicago. Like he was just a guy.
And then he exploded though, right? I mean, like
he exploded.
People didn't expect him to be that. He exploded. And then in Minnesota, he exploded in various ways. And then that one season in Philadelphia where he looked like, they really screwed that up by keeping Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris instead of Jimmy Butler. But throughout his career, he has, I think, overachieved in his career, because I don't think a lot of people expected Jimmy Butler to be a guy who can influence games. And like he willed a Miami Heat team that was in a play-in to the finals.
To the finals.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, top 50 career points, top 50 in career playoff points. Like you said, 6-time All-Star, 5 times All-NBA, 5-time All-Defense.
Did he make 2 finals with the Heat? I'm having a total mind. Did he make the COVID finals with Miami?
2020, the bubble?
2 finals,
right?
Yes.
Yeah,
2.
remember
So
the picture of him exhausted on the sideline of he was like benched over.
Yeah, the COVID thing always is hard for me to like remember what the hell happened to that thing.
I mean, listen, Jimmy, you get into Jimmy.
Thumbs up from Ashley. Bill?
I kicked Lowry out, right? I kicked Lowry out already.
You got some free space now.
It's a reluctant thumbs up. Yeah,
I'm a thumbs up on this too. I think for me, the only 2 who didn't get in were Derrick White and DeMar DeRozan.
No.
You started adding random people. You put Ben Simmons in. You're just like everybody's in.
There's going to be a whole. We're going to have to construct a whole new wing to get all these people in.
No, I changed my mind. DeMar can go in. Ben Simmons getting into the Hall of Fame would be insane. Chill out.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. Last one here. All of these players were active, but we had one more here that is pending discussion. And Bill, this was yours. It was Andre Iguodala, 19 seasons in the NBA. Only made 1 All-Star, which kind of surprised me because he had some really good underrated seasons with the Sixers, and then also when he went on to Denver. 2-time All-Defense also surprised me because he was an incredible defender. Never made an All-NBA team. However, 4 NBA championships, including 2015, where he took away Steph's Finals MVP for himself. He was so good in that series. Where are you?
LeBron.
This one was yours.
So it's mine because I don't know the answer. So I gotta sort of riddle this out with you guys as well. So this is the sort of player where I think that maybe you can make a case where the numbers don't quite add up because his impact on the game was amazing, and the guy was he went to the Warriors kind of knowing that he was going to have a lesser role, right? He was not going to be at the same level of. He wasn't going to be the focal point. He was going to do the dirty work, and that deserves, I think, some celebration. And the fact that the Finals MVP, I think Finals MVP is the most important accomplishment that you can get in the NBA. Like if I were a player, that's the thing I would want more than. I would rather have that than a regular season MVP every day of the week. I think it's so I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence on this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, though, what he has versus should he have what he has are 2 different conversations. I mean, at the end of the day, the accolade is the accolade. Whether or not people agree with whether or not he deserves it doesn't really matter. The point is that it's concrete, it's there, it's in black and white. And I think if we're just going to talk about what's tangible and what is actually reality, he absolutely should get it. Now, if you want to talk about all the things that surround his resume and whether or not, he should have certain things that are pushing him into the Hall of Fame, that's a different conversation. I just don't know if that's fair to hold against somebody who didn't give themselves that award. It's not like he awarded it himself. It was given to him, and it was given to him for a multitude of reasons, whether or not we agree with them or not. I just don't think you can discredit what's there. And what's there is that he's the finals MVP, and he is a world champion, and he is a plethora of other things. And for that reason alone,
he was excellent. He was excellent in that series. I mean,
excellent. Yeah.
But that's obviously an outlier, right? I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb when you look at it.
But
Andre Iguodala won that finals MVP. This is a great note, and I don't have to tell you two this, but this comes from producer Aaron here. He notes that one Cornbread Maxwell is the only finals MVP that hasn't made it into the Hall of Fame. I got to see Andre Iguodala up close for a number of seasons when he was with the Sixers. I think he's one of the smartest basketball players I've ever been around. He can also be a little prickly because he is so smart, but really, really talented player. I'm a toss up on this one.
There's a butt here.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. This is a tough one for me. Ashley, you go first. Thumbs up, thumbs down on Andre.
I let everybody in, so thumbs up, Andre. You can come in too. My club is wide open.
I'm gonna thumbs down. Like I'm gonna give Andre the opportunity by bringing it up, and I'm gonna just rip his soul from his chest by saying, "Thanks for coming to the conversation. You're out." Does
Carmelo get in for you?
Oh no!
Oh yeah!
Of course he does. Yeah, he does. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, Melo's. But by the way, Melo's a good example. Like, don't take away some of the shine from Melo by putting other people in. I think Iggy's a no for me. It's close.
It's a tough one. Again, the Basketball Reference model is perplexing. Considerably higher odds for Andre Iguodala than one Jrue Holiday. I don't know. Maybe it's weighted heavily because of the championships. I'm gonna go thumbs up. Why not? Yeah. As Ashley said, so let him in. Andre Iguodala, you had a good career, and I like watching you play basketball.
Every NBA player out there, if you want to get into the Hall of Fame, you come see me our show. John. All right,
come to our show.
We'll let you in.
Bill is a much tougher gatekeeper. This was a fun exercise, and it was great to have Ashley back on the show. Bill, it was good to see you as well. Next week, we're going to be back at it on Tuesday. CBS Sports is releasing its highly anticipated, much awaited list of the top 100 players heading into the 2024-2025 season. So we're going to break all of that down on Tuesday. But for now, for our NBA insider Bill Ryder, for the triumphant return of one Ashley Nicole Moss, I am John Gonzalez. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, and have a great weekend.